Let's be honest, billionaires are operating on a completely different level when it comes to getting things done. While most of us are still trying to figure out how to start the day without hitting snooze 5 times, they've already closed major deals, expanded their businesses, and somehow squeezed in a morning workout. So what's their secret? Superhuman discipline? Private assistants for every tiny task? Maybe a secret underground society where they learn time-bending techniques? Not quite. The real reason billionaires outperform the rest of the world is because they've mastered a few simple but incredibly effective productivity principles. They don't waste time on unnecessary decisions, they don't fill their schedules with distractions, and they don't just wing it when it comes to their work. The good news? You don't need millions in the bank to apply these strategies. You just need to shift how you approach your time and priorities. Let's break down 3 game-changing productivity hacks that can take your efficiency to the next level. Most people start their day staring at a never-ending to-do list, jumping from one task to another, and constantly feeling like they're behind. If you've ever had that experience where you worked all day but still felt like you accomplished nothing, you're not alone. Billionaires don't work that way. Instead of trying to do everything, they focus on the one thing that matters most. This idea comes from the book The One Thing by Gary Keller, and it's ridiculously simple. Every day, ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Instead of spending the day answering endless emails or sitting through pointless meetings, you identify the highest impact task and pour your energy into that. Why this works? Eliminates decision fatigue. No more wasting time figuring out what to do next. Maximizes impact. Doing one thing well is far more valuable than doing 10 things halfway. Reduces stress. When you focus on a single priority, your workload feels more manageable. Warren Buffett has a similar approach called the 25-5 rule. He suggests writing down your top 25 goals, choosing the 5 most important, and completely ignoring the rest. Why? Because those less important goals are just distractions in disguise. They feel productive, but they're actually pulling you away from what really matters. Applying this to your own life is simple. Every morning, before checking your phone, before answering emails, ask yourself, what's the one thing that will make the biggest difference today? That's your priority. Everything else comes second, but having a clear priority is useless if you don't make time for it. And that's where billionaires take things to the next level. If your daily plan consists of a to-do list that you hope you'll get through, you're already setting yourself up for failure. The problem with to-do lists is that they're easy to ignore. Tasks can be pushed to later, distractions, sneak in, and suddenly the day is over, and you've barely made progress on what really mattered. Billionaires don't rely on to-do lists alone, they schedule everything. Time blocking is the secret weapon here. Instead of just writing down what you plan to do, you assign each task a specific time on your calendar, just like an appointment. Need to work on a big project? Block out 2 hours for deep work. Have emails to answer. Schedule a 30-minute slot. And don't touch emails outside of that. Want to exercise? Put it in the calendar like an important meeting. When something is scheduled, it's real. It's a commitment. You're far more likely to follow through. Why this works? Forces discipline. You're not just reacting to the day, you're controlling it. Reduces procrastination. If it's on your calendar, you do it. No excuses. Prevents distractions. Dedicated time blocks keep you focused on one thing at a time. Elon Musk is famous for taking this to the extreme. He schedules his entire day in 5-minute increments. Every task, every meeting, every activity is slotted into his calendar with military precision. Now, unless you're also running multiple billion-dollar companies, you probably don't need that level of detail. But the principle remains the same. If something is important, it gets scheduled. One of the biggest mistakes people make is leaving their most important work for when they have time. But time doesn't magically appear. You have to make time for what matters. Once you start blocking out your days, you'll notice an immediate boost in your productivity. But there's still one more key to unlocking next-level efficiency. knowing what to cut from your schedule. Here's a shocking fact. 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. This is called the Pareto principle, and it applies to almost everything in life. 80% of a company's profits come from 20% of its customers. 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your tasks. 80% of your stress comes from 20% of your problems. The key takeaway? Most of what you do isn't actually moving the needle. Billionaires don't waste time on the 80% of tasks that don't matter. They identify the most impactful 20% and double down on those. How to apply this? Take a look at how you're spending your time. Ask yourself, which 20% of my tasks produce the biggest results? Which 80% of my tasks could be eliminated, delegated, or automated? If you're spending hours on admin, work, unnecessary meetings, or tasks that aren't driving real progress, cut them. Mark Zuckerberg famously wears the same outfit every day. Not because he loves gray t-shirts, but because eliminating small, unimportant decisions frees up mental energy for bigger ones. For you, this might mean cutting unnecessary meetings, automating repetitive tasks, saying no to things that don't align with your main goal. If it doesn't directly contribute to your success, it's probably just a distraction. You don't need $1 million to start applying these today. Small changes, consistently applied, will transform how you work and live. So, what's your one thing for today? Start there. The rest will follow.